Listen and I asked former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown, okay, we've got this Donald Trump on China one day, one position. Donald Trump on China the next day, a different one. NATO, same thing. He's flip-flopping and flying all over the place. What is this guy up to?
Back up for a second. Because he changed his mind when greater knowledge occurred with reference to things like the Chinese manipulation of money and all of the other kinds of things that he talked about, including what happens with NATO, and you call it a flip-flop? No, it's an intelligent movement from one spot to another by a guy who must at all times be flexible enough to do that.
Well, but all this information was available before the election. I mean, it's not like we just learned the data about China's currency manipulation.
North Korea having a bomb or anything like that.
Or NATO's relevance, things like that.
You guys assume that he would be looking at that information. He was looking at issues and ideas that got him votes. That would not have gotten him a vote. So the fact that he ignored that information and went for the closer with Joe Sixpack got him the presidency.
Let me ask you about Joe Sixpack, because the journalists and the Democrats, you know, journalists are pick it apart because that's what we do. Democrats pick it apart because that's what they do. What does Joe Sixpack think of this? Or did he pay any attention?
No attention at all. He could not care less. As a matter of fact, he treats each of you as if you're one and the same. All journalists are MSNBC as all Democrats. That's what Joe Sixpack thinks.
Well, and unless I think you've got real troops on the ground, they're really more concerned about where are the jobs, where's the infrastructure bill, where's the tax breaks, than foreign policy. That really only becomes tangible for most people's lives when you're really talking about a big, serious military engagement.
So it's even more close than that. Just think about all the nonsense about your tax return. Joe Sixpack couldn't care less about Trump's tax return. Okay. He gets away with it.
You were known for saying one thing and then doing another for your career. How did you get away with it?
Well, as has been the case with people who can entertain, I would try my best to get you laughing. And when you were laughing, I took your wallet.
You certainly did that.
And, you know, whatever Trump's doing seems to be working. We have the newest fundraising numbers are in, and he raised $13 million in Q1 of this year.
But it's also interesting what he decides to do publicly with a big brass band and what he does privately. And here's an example. He did this behind closed doors. President Trump quietly signed a resolution that allows states to defund health care providers that offer abortions like Planned Parenthood. However, it doesn't take effect on the federal level, but it does overturn an Obama-era rule that prohibited states from withholding money to health care providers for political or religious reasons. Afterward, the president met with anti-abortion rights activists.
We spoke about how important this was. We talked about how, you know, again, how this is a promise that is kept, that it's really important for people to see that, to see him sign the bill.
The bill passed the Senate last month after Vice President Pence cast the tie-breaking vote. And Planned Parenthood calls this the worst political attack in women's health in a generation, and it could lead the states to block access to health care.